Have you met Mary, Martin, and Marcos? That's a lot of M names. Maybe we can do better on... Welcome to Jenn's Writing World. If you have a story to tell, you are in the right place. Let's do it 10 minutes at a time. Last Friday, when we talked about naming characters, I told you not to worry about it in the first draft, and that is still true. But I do want to bring your attention to something that is commonly done in the first draft, which is fine, but should be fixed in future drafts. And that is naming all of your characters with the same letter. In my example up above, I had Mary, Martin, and Marcos. And to you, in your mind, these may be three distinct characters. To the reader, they're going to get blended together and no one's going to know who is who. Now, I know of this from firsthand experience. My very first novel that I ever wrote, a novel that I would still love to get published and has gone through many iterations. But when I started it, I had two characters, one male, one female. And the male's name was Jack. And the female's name, well, I think it was Maddie, but she was a jack of all trades. So I thought it would be cute if her name was Jack also, but I tacked an E on the end of it. When you were reading it, I thought it was perfectly fine, until you tried to read it out loud. And then you had Jack talking to Jack, and you had to use pronouns properly, and it was horrible. It was an amateur's mistake. But I did learn a lot from it. So now I'm on to a new novel. This is many years after my first one. And I didn't worry about names in the first draft. I told you how I had a Lydia, she became a Jamie. But once I was finished with that book, I made a spreadsheet of all of my characters, from the main character all the way down to the neighbor she waves to that doesn't even have a speaking line. About 30 people all told. It became very obvious that I really like names that start with S. There were a lot of them. And so, out of curiosity, I took all the names and I lined them up in Word alphabetically. And I found out that I was only using about 5 letters of the alphabet to name all my characters. That's just because I was in the first draft and apparently my brain was thinking that way. But in the second draft, I went through and renamed, especially the minor characters like the neighbor who it didn't matter what their name was, but I gave them names that sprinkled across the alphabet. So now you don't have Diane and Denise, you have Diane and Jessica. And you're not going to forget, at least by their name, who's who. Now, if I make them the same identical character with no, distinguishing characteristics, yeah, you might not know who's who. But at least you're not going to have to wonder, which one is Diane? Which one is Denise? I can't remember all these D names or S names or M names. I promise you, as an author, you may think you're being perfectly clear, but the reader will thank you. All right. Well, as I said, you don't have to worry about names in the first draft, but if you are coming up with new names in your story, you might notice if you have a habit of picking the same letter every time. And like I said, don't change it now, but be sure in your second draft that you address it. And if you're editing during Camp NaNoWriMo, this would be a great time to be checking your names and making sure that they're not all repetitive. Anyway, why don't we go get writing? All right, well, in our never-ending experimenting to find the perfect place to write, you might notice I'm actually at my desk. I'm reclining back in my office chair with my laptop on my lap. This is a position I often assume when I am writing, unless I have Chewy trying to occupy the same space as my laptop. So I have the timer here. It's going to be a little weird. I'm going to have it sitting up on my shoulder, but let's do 10 minutes of writing right now, okay? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, start. All right, slight epic fail. Hold on, where'd it go? Keep typing, everyone. Oh. All right, timer hasn't stopped. So let's try this again. Oh my goodness. All right, I just wanted to settle right there so you guys can see it. All right, you see it? All right, I may be a little behind on my typing, but I hope you're not. So let's get writing. 10 minutes is up, and I hope you had a great writing time. I admit that I didn't get very far this time. Between cats and leaning back, I was a little sleepy. Well, did you enjoy watching me recline in the chair? I have to say, I did almost fall asleep. I had a cold run this morning. I didn't sleep well last night, whatever the excuse. The chair was very comfy. Reclining was very comfy. And I only got 316 words written instead of the 400 I normally do. We'll have to rethink whether or not I stick to the reclining chair. Oh, and I apologize that you couldn't see the timer because it shifted. I need to work on that too. But this channel is nothing if not an experiment, so I would appreciate it if in the comments you told me that you liked it, you didn't like it, you'd prefer I went back to the dining room, still covered in fishing gear, so that's not happening, or if I need to try something else. Anyway, it's an experiment, and the best way that I can learn is if you tell me what you like. So also, if you had a good writing session today, better than mine, I hope you do subscribe down below and hit the little bell so that you get notified whenever there is a new video, and hit the like button if you didn't fall asleep like I did. And I do hope that you are sharing these videos with your writing friends so that we can all come together, write better, keep each other awake. It's a good thing for everyone. And here's today's quote. It's a short one, all right, and it is from Ernest Hemingway. I don't have to tell you who he is. And this is what he said. When writing a novel, a writer should create living people. People, not characters. A character is a caricature. Well, this goes right along with the names we were talking about. Caricatures, comics, cartoons, can use all the same letters in their names because it's kind of funny. Real people have a variety of names. Now, that being said, I once knew a family, mom, dad, 3 boys, and they all had the same initials, J-L-A. And not only that, they were all tall and blonde. And if you think I couldn't tell them apart, you're right. Those 3 boys, I had a really hard time knowing which name belonged to which boy because they looked similar and their names all started with J. And please, if it's hard to do in real life, don't do it in your books. Anyway, so long from Jenn's writing world. I hope to see you tomorrow. And until then, write, write, write.